Now, forewarned weather with Ashlee Baracy.
It'll be a great day to hit a park today and also the water. It's a cool start, but by this afternoon we'll be in seasonal territory and we have some pretty color over the lake in Belleville, 57 degrees there. We have 61 at City Airport, just shy of 60 in Pontiac and Adrian. So talk about a cooler start, but that playground forecast for today getting close to about 80 degrees around the lunch hour with the forecasted high being 85. But you want the sunscreen and sunglasses today. Certainly a necessity no matter what you're doing outside. Maybe you're heading to Comerica Park this evening. Another great night to take in baseball in the D. We have that 6:40 first pitch once again against the Rays. Second game of that series at home, and we'll be into the low 80s for that first pitch. Pleasant temperatures. And then 74 by game's end, so comfortably cooler as we have mainly clear conditions. Forecasted highs across the mitten today. Pretty much 80s. We might struggle just a hair to get to 80 degrees in Port Huron the closer you get to the water through the Thumb region. But for those of us in the heart of the metro area, we're talking low to mid 80s. So we broke a warm streak yesterday. We had 17 days in a row where we hit at least 80 degrees over at Metro Airport. So the last day that we did not get to 80 was June 19th. So 17 days, yesterday's high 77. So we broke that streak, but today we will be back into the 80s. However, far cry from the hottest week that we've ever had. Just wanted to show you a little climate data here. It was this week in 1936, and we had a 7-day stretch of triple-digit highs, so 100 degrees or warmer, and that wasn't even factoring in the heat indices. Whew. So tonight, 68 degrees, not quite as cool as what we're waking up to this morning. That humidity is going to start to work its way in as we head through the overnight. Then we have some shower and non-severe storm chances as we work our way into tomorrow morning. So 10:30 tomorrow, we do have some rain potentially, but it looks like the bulk of this activity could be more so in the afternoon and evening. We don't anticipate that reaching severe limits, but you still could see some pockets of heavy rainfall and some gusty winds. Thursday, Friday, very minimal chances of seeing anything develop, but Saturday, a much better chance for some showers and storms going into Saturday evening. So if you do have outdoor plans Saturday evening, keep a close eye on our forecast. We're going to be fine tuning that as we get closer to the weekend, but we could potentially have that lingering a little bit into Sunday morning. So let's break down this full forecast for you. We will hover into that seasonal mid 80 range all the way through Thursday before we crank up the heat a little bit along with that humidity. Upper 80s Friday, Saturday. In fact, I think we flirt with 90 for the first part of the weekend before those showers and storms will drop those temperatures back to 85, and then we get back into the upper 80s early next week. So enjoy the lower humidity today while it lasts, because it's going to feel muggy starting tomorrow. Darnell.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
And we have Ashlee here for more perspective too. I mean, sometimes when you hear like 7 inches of rain, you're like, oh, that's not that much, but what can happen is...
Right. It all has to do with the infrastructure. And then obviously down in Texas, if you're close to a body of water like the river, that overflows the banks. And then you just have, when it comes to flash flooding, the speed on top of the threat of flooding. And it's catastrophic. And, you know, we were talking about a 100-year flood. And I'm just probably like a lot of people at home, you think to yourself, well, we're hearing about these 100-year floods over and over again. So it's not happening every 100 years, but it has to do with the fact that our climate is changing. It's warming. You see more of these extreme events, and it's happening more often than what it did many years ago.
This is also like I would think a warning call for all of us, because sometimes we 100%. See those flood watches and warnings and you really don't think a whole lot about it.
I know, but it only takes such a minimal amount to sweep away a car, just a couple inches, and then we're talking 15 inches of rain in some spots. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But bringing it back closer to home where we can just sigh relief that we have really a beautiful forecast in store here, but your thoughts go out to folks in other parts of the country dealing with the aftermath of 2 different weather systems that we were just talking about. But right now, sunshine over Metro Airport. 60 degrees there, 59 in Pontiac, 63 in Grosse Ile, and 59 in Port Huron. And we have a very light wind out there, at most about 3 miles per hour, but it's light and variable. That temperature change right now about 5 to 15 degrees cooler across the area. So you're going to notice more of that difference the farther south you go. But it's a great day to get outside, enjoy the sunshine, the lower humidity, really have to point that out. And then we'll have seasonal mid 80s. So it's going to be a warm one. Just won't be oppressive. If you're heading out to Comerica Park this evening, well, the Tigers will be taking on the Rays for game 2 of this homestand, and we will be in the low 80s for that first pitch, falling into the mid 70s by game's end, so comfortably cooler. But we have 80s across lower Michigan. So I think Port Huron might be the one spot that struggles, but overall pretty seasonal temperatures across the lower peninsula. We have broken a warm streak. Worth mentioning that we spent 17 days in a row of getting to at least 80 degrees, and there were several 90-degree days sprinkled in there. But the last time, other than yesterday, that we didn't get to 80 degrees was June 19th, and that was a high of 75. Yesterday's high 77 broke that streak, but we'll be back into the 80s today. Also worth mentioning, well, it was this week in 1936 that was the hottest week on record here. We had a week stretch of triple-digit highs, and that's not even factoring in what it felt like with the heat indices. But tonight, 68 degrees. So not quite as cool as where we were last night, and that humidity will be rising, and you'll feel that tomorrow, and that's going to lead to some storm potential. Here's the good news. We're not looking at a threat for severe weather tomorrow. Now, that's not to say we can't get a heavy downpour or a little bit gusty wind, but it should stay below the threshold of what would be considered severe. Maybe some rain late morning or midday, but a better chance of that being more widespread as we head into the evening hours. Thursday, slightest chance of something developing. Better chance, though, by Saturday as we have a front that'll sweep through the area, and that's going to bring some storm potential later in the day Saturday before we dry things out throughout the day on Sunday. So 7-day forecast, mid-80s through Thursday, upper 80s for your Friday, Saturday. Some areas will be flirting with 90, but we do fall back into seasonal mid-80s in the wake of those showers. So by Sunday, a seasonal end to the weekend, but then we're back above average early next week. Darnell?